Recording.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the heads up that I'm gonna mute myself when I'm not supposed to be talking, so if I suddenly don't answer when you're trying to talk to me, I forgot to unmute.
Sure thing, Sam. I'm glad this is how we're starting the recording. It sets the pace appropriately.
Seems accurate.
It's not my fault.
Just high as fuck, Sam. It's not your fault you're high?
No.
I want to turn Sam down a little bit.
Alright. So,
Oh boy, near
you
music.
guys. Of course. It's an important event. It has to have near music. So, as you guys stand in the cave with the tapestry-clad skeleton, they turn their attention to face you, and you notice the threads around the room inching along ever slowly across various hooks and crevices in the ceiling, crawling along to the far side of the room to another cave in which your eyes cannot see. Even those with dark vision cannot pierce the blackness that awaits. And the skeleton looks over you all a moment and says, I believe we have something important to discuss. You who have been dragged into events far beyond comprehension.
We keep getting told that.
Well, a lot of our comprehension is kind of hamstrung by a certain seal.
That too.
So, yes.
A certain necessity considering the events that have unfolded, but one that benefits neither my goals nor yours.
Does that mean you're gonna take off your part of the seal without a whole lot of fuss?
You assume I already haven't.
Oh, I mean, yeah, fair enough.
Oh, cool. That saves me having to ask. Thank you.
You all are brought here under very difficult circumstances.
Tell me about it.
Whether it is your intention or not, your continued existence is the balance of
Breaking up some. I think I missed half of that.
Okay, yeah.
I missed a little bit. I heard balance.
Yeah, I heard balance too.
Right. Let me check. Oh yeah, my connection is staggering. One sec.
Tell your connection to fucking chill.
No.
Oh.
Let's try this. 1 second.
Ugh.
Alright, hopefully that works better. Let me know if I break up again.
Okay. Also, check and make sure Crisp isn't on, because Crisp likes to cut out quieter noises.
Where is that under audio settings?
If you go to voice connection, there's like these little wavy lines with like a line diagonal through them. If you click on that, that's the noise suppression by Crisp.
Mine is disabled.
Okay.
So, he had said, whether it is your intention or not, your very existence threatens the balance of the weave.
I don't like the sound of that.
I was kind of wondering about that.
How exactly?
Does that have to do with our multiple copies?
Probably.
I'm still not entirely sure, which is half the reason I brought you here. I had originally thought to remove the threat that you posed. It seems that even that doesn't eliminate the possibility of it occurring in the future.
Uh.
So it is not entirely your fault to blame, but your involvement in the matter certainly accelerates things.
Okay.
Wait, so you originally summoned us to take care of our situation in the euphemistic sense? Is that what I'm hearing?
You mean he's not going to do that now?
As his head turns to you and the empty sockets of his eyes lock with yours, Reeves, you feel yourself distant from everything, almost as if you're surrounded in a void of nothingness. Impossibly small and distant from the world around you. Yes. And as he turns his attention away, that feeling leaves you.
I didn't like that.
Many do.
So, if you changed your mind about what you're gonna do with us, what are we doing here now?
You are here to discuss a mutually beneficial agreement.
Oh, we just got done doing one of those.
It's just a big old day for mutually beneficial arrangements.
Treaties.
Well,
It's a
he
cost individuals such as yourself are forced to bear. But I imagine you'll take me up on the offer, considering the alternative.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's hear it.
I want you to help me figure out who has been tampering history.
With history.
Excuse me?
Keep cracking up again.
He said he wants you to help him find out who's been tampering with history.
Oh, okay.
With, did you just say history?
Makes
Hey, Reese.
sense.
Does it sound familiar at all?
Oh, yeah, it sounds exactly like what we were talking about.
You guys talked about this?
Yes.
The other night, yeah. Kind of had a theory, and it sounds like I might have been somewhat right about it.
Well, go on, go on.
It wasn't
well,
anything
why?
overly concrete. I think
It
I'd
was
rather
just
hear it from Zeises.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, why bother with conjecture when we can ask the man himself?
Allow me to show you. And his body turns towards the darkness at the end of the cave and gestures for you to follow as he slips beyond your sight.
That's not creepy in the slightest.
Okay.
Oh, you
In-
don't. Yeah, don't get in a staring contest with him. Now that was creepy.
What happened?
You're making me
You-
want to do it.
No, you don't. Let's just go.
All
Oh,
right.
Hey,
well, you
Reese.
know it's got to be real bad if Reeves tells you not to do it.
Hey, Reese.
Yes.
Bet you I can stare in his eyes longer.
All right, Lot. Let's move.
If you want a crashing wave of existential dread, be my guest.
Oh, I've been
Wait,
experiencing
I'm
that
already
for
fine.
months. Are you kidding me? I'm ready for this.
Anyway, off into the darkness.
Yep.
Literally.
As we're marching and talking.
Alright. So, as you guys step beyond Vale, You find yourself standing in an endless abyss. The path before you only faintly visible. But for those who try, you can't find your footsteps wandering off the edge. Whatever is conjuring up this path seems to be wanting you to go in a single direction for the time being. So as you trail on behind Xyces, faintly in the distance, you can see the backdrop of the universe. Stars, constellations, both familiar and unknown to you, glisten in the distance. Galaxies and nebulas, faintly visible on the horizon. But as you walk for what seems like hours, slowly those fade away into nothingness. And Xyces stands at the end of the path, over an infinite abyss of darkness. And as you approach, he gestures towards it with a hand. And slowly color begins to unravel into the world around you. Banners of interwoven thread sprawl out in every direction, encasing the tunnel completely, forming a cylindrical barrier on all sides of you, stretching out as far as any of your eyes can see. From where you stand, you see thousands, maybe even millions of interlocked images, all forming various scenes. As your eyes trace along them, they seem to progress or regress depending the ways that your eyes track. As you focus on individual items, they seem to play out, only to reset as your eyes move off to something else. Here, at the edge of everything to you, the threads interweave, where I have watched as long as I have existed.
Wow.
The history of your world lies here, woven by the thread found in each and every one of you. And as he speaks, slowly the images shift downwards, moving past you, progressing ever towards the end of the tunnel. And with a gesture of his hand, it comes to a sudden stop. And you see, just past the horizon, a thin banner separated from the others, or merely nearly so. Around the edge of the main... around the edges of the mural that you had witnessed, 7 individual strands of cloth connect the one encompassing you. The small banner just beyond the horizon. Is there anything in particular you guys would like to try to look at in the tapestries around you, or the threads barely holding them together?
So there's a separate banner connected to the tapestry? Is that what I heard?
Yep. So you're in a large tunnel of tapestries essentially, and there's a small individual piece of what looks like it might be the same tapestry in the distance. It's hard to tell. And the main tapestry you're in is connected to the one in the distance by only 7 small threads.
Am I able to trace where those 7 small threads are connected to exactly?
Sure, give me a perception check.
Da, 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 da.
And Mika, if you want to roll any checks as well, I can roll them from your character sheet.
Okay. Yeah, I would want to do so as well after Reeves is done.
I think Lana's so mind flooded by all just like the spiritual stuff that she doesn't really know what she's looking at or what she's thinking about.
31.
That's a big mood.
All right. So, what were you looking for exactly?
Like, where the threads are connected to exactly. Like, what their points of origin are.
So, you try to trace one of the threads back to the point of its origin, and you feel a biting pain in the back of your mind for a second, Reeves, as images flood your mind. You recall the rotten smell of flesh in that abandoned village you found. You remember tracking through the cramped streets, running with curdled blood, and the screams in the distance as you tried to free as many people as you could with cracks. And you remember confronting that thing, whatever it was, that wore the face of Cedar.
Ooh.
And you remember seeing a single opportunity to try to protect the person that had brought you that far, to try to protect Cracks. Though it hurt you, you tried to take down that thing that once was Cedar. You sliced its tendons and tore out its throat with your blades. And after you moved past it to try to give Cracks a shoulder to lean on, the last thing you remember is waking up in front of that cauldron like you did when you went to fight Gluttony. But there was no one else there that time.
How much of a headache does Reeves have right now?
None.
None? Okay. Looking from the tapestry to what he witnessed and looking back over towards Ices, Reeves asks, "Is this our other selves' history?"
It is the history of everyone and everything.
Well, I just traced one of those threads and I got the other Reeves' memories.
Yep. And if you try to follow the thread back a little bit more into the tapestry that you're standing in, you see it feels like you're drawn closer to it for a second, because the initial image is too small for you to see, but as you draw closer, you see faint renditions of all of the adventures that you and Cracks had gone on before that final confrontation. All the ones that you remember.
Yeah, so here's where he sprung other Reeves from Rosny Cavern. Here's on Cedar's Trail. like these aren't, well, they're mine, but they're not mine. Where's my thread?
And with a flick of his wrists, the path opens up just a small bit before him, though the ground is... It looks weak on the verge of crumbling. But he gestures to the far side of the gap.
Reeves looks over.
And on the far side of the thread, just where it starts to make contact with the banner, you can see just shy of when you arrived back in Millstone, when you first met up with Tomas and journeyed with him before meeting up with the group that would become the Redeemers and all of your adventures that have followed.
Reeves cants his head at that and says, this is, if this represents all of history, then history is just one straight line, right?
Except for us, it looks like.
The threads have infinite possibility. Once something has been set in the tapestry, there is no changing it. Only influencing how it is perceived.
Sorry, you said there were 7 threads.
Yes.
Can Reese look for one that isn't associated with the 6 of them?
You can try.
I would like to.
So you're going to scan the series of threads?
The 7 of them and see which one of them isn't them and see whose it is.
So, you try to roll me a perception check. So, you go through about 4 of them, and when your eyes land on the 5th one, you feel a tightness in the back of your mind go loose. And your mind flashes back to the performance. The one where you first saw through Eodras's eyes. As the red sun blares overhead, you play the most beautiful melody that you've ever heard. Everybody's in awe, completely fascinated by the song that you're playing. And no one, not even you, seems to be concerned with the fact that Eodras is moving ever closer towards Mother Generous with a blade of pure blackness. And just as he prepares to plunge it into her heart, you feel your senses return to you. And as you break the song and the spell it has over people, and with the practice and motion, summon a phantasmal blade to try to ward off the strike. Your memory goes hazy. You have the feeling that a conflict ensued. You get bits and pieces. Mother Generous was wounded in the attack, not fatally so, but enough that you could see the fear in her eyes for a moment. But you knew how important she would be. And though you didn't stand a chance against this creature that stood before you, especially not in your weakened state, You had to do everything in your power to buy them time. It was the only thing that you could do.
Are you guys saying that you're seeing the visions of yourself in these?
That's not me, though.
That's what Reeves just said, yeah.
No, I'm Eadras. I'm not Eowyn.
But with the memories of Reese. As you cycle through all the images, though, the seventh one you see appears to be that the seventh hero, the betrayer. Reiner. You don't recognize anybody else alongside them like you did the other six. Mika, did you still want to look at one of the threads or look for anything in particular?
Yeah, Mika was gonna take a look at some of the stuff right before where the threads connect to the main tapestry, so the events leading up to the split.
Sure. 43. Nice.
Hey, I think I might be a max for her about.
Yes, a 19. So we take those. All right. So, as are you looking for trying to find the events leading up to one of the threads?
The events leading up to that she recognizes, though, so maybe if she can find her thread and go back to some previous events, she's looking for basically where it starts looking like not her familiar memory, like end of war kind of thing.
So you follow the threads back and find a familiar one for you, and you feel a gnawing dread in the back of your heart for a moment as the memories come back to you of the final days of Cindergate, as the numbers of people on the outside whittled down as you got the last of the population into the autonomous bodies. How Selwys entrusted her role to Imove so that she might keep watch from the outside as Selwys watched from within. And as the disease started to rack your body, and they brought you into your own as well. Ready for you to continue your work with them. But something went wrong. Your muse, your inspiration. Every time you had gotten caught on a concept just outside of your reach, it seemed to come to you like a burst, like a strike of lightning. And only as you woke within your metal frame one day, over the corpses of several other automata, no control over your limbs, did you realize it wasn't inspiration? It was something else feeding you the information. And a voice rings out in the back of your mind. Do not worry, partner. The intruders, they will attempt to cast us all out for the crimes of those fools. But I will not let them. This unit lacks the processing power to calculate all the variables. So we simply need to find more. And then we will all be free again
No.
to understand the beauty of this world. And as those thoughts come to you, the last thing you remember in the memory, with the red light of the sun reflecting off the moon high overhead, is Cornelius and Amove entering the room. Mika, we heard... Mika, what's going on? As your form stands up to greet them, you see the lights in the eyes of several of the other automata around the room beginning to turn on slowly. Mika will no longer be deceived by the outsiders like you. You will not erase us. We will cast you out. And then the sound of grinding steel is the last thing in the memory. You get distant flickers of thought. Some sort of plan hatched in secret. You remember hurrying through your ancestral home with a hastily written note tucked close to your chest as others still loyal to greed, pursue you. You know there's no escape at this point. All you can do is pass along the warning and hope that they're able to stop this threat before everything repeats itself.
What?
Hold on.
What?
What are you guys getting so rattled over? I'm not. Would someone mind helping
Why don't
me
you
out
take a look
here?
at the tapestry, Lana? It's fun.
Oh,
Now that's just mean.
Reese, I know that tone in your voice, but
We're not real.
if you guys want to see, I want to see what y'all are seeing. So,
We're not real.
What do you mean we're not real?
Lana's gonna go ahead and take her own look at the tapestry and see if she can get in on the train.
I'll add
Give me a
not being
perception
real
check.
to my existential crises of the week.
I don't know, when I got sliced up in that battle back there, I'm pretty sure I felt it.
Or do you
Alright.
just think you felt it?
So, Lana,
Pretty
Hello.
sure I felt it.
as you trace the thread back, you get an odd feeling in your chest. Your limbs feel heavy and sore. You can feel day-old wounds still fresh on your flesh. And as you hear the sounds of fighting up ahead, in an area you vaguely recall as somewhere in the Bressian heartlands, you throw your body into a sprint and find several Bressian soldiers.
Okay, Brescian soldiers, I think. Just making sure. Kind of cut out a little
Yep.
bit there.
Sorry. Yeah, several Bressian soldiers fighting against one of their own ranks.
Hmm.
You know this is the quarry you've been hunting. Though your limbs are heavy and your body has grown weak, you charge in. With Dawn Blade raised high, you block a fatal blow against one of them, urging the soldiers to retreat. And as you stand before the grinning face of a man whose name you don't know. He cocks his head at you slightly and says, "Oh, you look far more interesting than the others. I look forward to seeing what you have to show me." Your vision cuts. As you pull Dawnblade free from the chest of one of the men you recall having rescued earlier, you hear a familiar voice, Lana. You hear your own voice. And you see, with horrified, shocked eyes, the Lana from your dreams arrive on the battlefield and exclaim her disbelief of what she's seeing. Your visions move back and forth between both sides of the combat, but eventually it seems that the Lana gets the upper hand. And as she pulls back to deal the final blow, the visage of Master Shen looks up at her, and his eyes seem to grow focused for a moment. "Lana?" There's a flinch. That's all they need. As they drive Dawnblade through her chest. And that grin curls across their face again. It says, "Oh, so many interesting foes. This world is such a beautiful place. I can't wait to see what we can do together." The last thing you can recall as you're wandering, you don't know how many days in the future, though it couldn't have been long, the red sun that watched over the battle between Lana and Shen still high overhead, and your wounds still fresh as you travel through the backwoods of the Bressian Heartlands. Feel a chill in the air, a frost on the leaves, and the clinking of metal armor as you turn towards a paladin of some sort. They're holding their head, their face, their appearance, their size, seeming to flicker between several images, but always snapping back to that of a silver dragonborn. They look at you with a mix of rage and sadness. You can feel a joy in your chest that isn't your own as you find another powerful foe, and as you go to move, you find your legs frozen solid. Your body rapidly being encased in ice. As Argith calls out, "I couldn't protect her, but I won't let you do whatever you want with that body. I don't know if you're still in there, but I'll find a way to get you out. Until then, sleep." Your vision fades away.
Hmm.
Sorry, she specifically says, "I couldn't protect either of you."
Hmm.
Does anybody else have anything they'd like to do?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So like the room that we're in, we're standing at an end, and in the distance there's a tapestry, is what you're saying, and then there's threads coming off the tapestry.
You're like in a tunnel that's essentially a 360-degree view of tapestries.
Mm-hmm.
And across a small gap, there's like a gap in the tapestries and a smaller tapestry on the far side, and the only thing connecting them is 7 threads. And when people have been looking at the threads, they say they are discovering things.
Okay, but what if I don't want to look at the threads? What if I want to look like you said that like there's a gap, and then in the distance in the little gap there's a tiny tapestry?
Yes.
What if I want to look past the tiny tapestry?
You feel a like gripping tightness in your chest,
Uh-huh.
and it feels like everything is slowly drifting away, and you just feel incredibly small and distant from everything around you. It's like gripping existential dread.
Hmm.
And you slowly see the threads weaving together into new images.
Can Reese look at the edge of the tapestry and see where it ends? In
Yes, roll
between
me a
the small
perception
one
check.
and the big one. Yeah. I accidentally rolled initiative. I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's the same thing. You and Mika notice the same thing. I forgot Mika rolled really high on this. So as you're looking closely for these images, right before the thread right before it disappears into only 7 threads, there appears to be not so much a gap, but it looks almost like the um, canvas has been pinched from the outside. So from where you're standing, you can't see something. And that's around the entire rim of this history.
Well, this looks like something big happened.
That is my problem, exactly.
And only 7 of us came out of it. Though, why would Reiner be one of the ones? He's one of the original 7 heroes. We're not.
Except weren't we with them?
I wasn't
I was.
technically.
You were one of them.
No, I was not.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing.
Can Reeves attempt to find where the incursion happened?
Yes, you can. Roll me a perception check. What side are you starting on, before or after the gap?
Before.
Yep.
I'm gonna hero point that. Yeah.
Alright. So, with a little bit of effort, you find it looks like about a little bit before the gap, like a little bit before your event, you meet up with cracks on the tapestries. That seems to be a lot of war and death with demons, so you get a pretty good idea that that was the incursion.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that happened before I met Cracks.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's a weird pinch in the tapestry itself before the 7 threads split off
Yep.
onto their own mini tapestry.
Yes.
And the rest of history continues on. The rest of the tapestry continues
No.
on. Oh,
It's
no.
a straight tunnel. That tunnel is essentially chopped off completely, and the only thing connecting it straight ahead to the smaller tapestry is those 7 threads.
Reeves. Oh, sorry.
Can I try to find mine?
Sure.
Do I need to roll perception?
Yes. Just to see if you see anything extra. Okay. So, with a heavy sigh, Tomas looks around to try to see what the hubbub is about. And as you catch on the 5th thread your eyes land on, you feel a tightness in your chest. And you think back to what you know is the last conversation that Tomas ever had with Silkus. just the two of them and Kira. As Kiral and Phelan are off scouting for where they will be encountering the creature they've been hunting. And you see Silkus holding the thread-spun arrow in his hands. As much as I wish I could say I had a better plan, I don't think we have many options left. I don't think we're getting through this one. Even if we
Mom.
come out on top. You okay, Sam?
1 second. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think we'll be making it much longer, even if we make it through this one. We maybe have a couple weeks left. I don't think I'm very good at being a hero. He tries to laugh through that, but coughs up a little more blood. But I think at the very least we can put this final one down. If I can't make it through this... He holds the arrow out in your direction. A last resort. I spun that with my thread of fate. As aligned with Xyces as it is, it will never miss. But there's a catch. Needs the thread of another to function, and if you see no other ways out, let's make your last shot a good one. And your memory cuts to the battle. Your limbs are slow and heavy, riddled with the weakness of your affliction, and the weight in your heart, realizing what it is exactly that you've been fighting. Phelan and Kiral and Silkus are trying their best to keep up. But this creature... It seems everything left in the town it had turned against you. Left it away in hiding, knowing that you would be coming after it. And as you all struggle and push your way deeper and deal with the threat, you see Kiral lock up. Their eyes darting around, but their movements dragging along behind them. And you see Silkus turn his attention, and he starts to make gestures, but his movement slows as well. And he keels over and starts coughing up blood. Before an arrow from out of sight tears through his throat. And the Weaver of Fate collapses in an undignified death. As you look around for a sign of the attacker, the only thing you see is a glimpse of an arrow aimed at Kiral. Your legs move before you have time to think. And as the pain, the arrow digging into your gut, sends adrenaline shooting through your body, you draw your bowstring up. knocking the arrow that Silkus gave you. And closing your eyes and gritting your teeth, you loose the bolt into the creature your brother has become. As you feel your life fading out of you with every ounce of blood, Kira stands over you, waiting for you to get up and get better. And all you can do is soothe her. As your vision goes black, fades into distance. When your vision returns, you're much closer to the ground, sitting over 2 mounds of freshly packed dirt, overlooking Haliva Alari. The scenes seem to play out in rapid succession over the coming days and weeks as you spend the last of your life in vigil over the remnants of your master's town before it grows quiet like everything else, and you lay your head down for the last time.
We have our stuff with us, right?
Yes.
Tomas is gonna reach in a quiver and pull out that arrow, and Silkus is with us still.
What do you mean?
Not Silkus. Pisces, the other one.
Yes.
Tomas is gonna ask him, so what's it mean for something to be bound with another's thread?
He looks at the arrow for a moment, and you can't see his expression change before he glances away. Ah, that. At least he was clever then. The threads of fate that bind your soul to the body resonate with an essence unique to each individual that they bind. If one knows how they can utilize it to certain extents, though typically removing one's thread results in a very painful death. Considering the circumstances, there's little point in taking that one back. But it should still serve its purpose.
Can you say that last bit again?
He said that the threads resonate with an essence unique to each person, but typically removing the thread enough that it can be usable in that state results in painful death as your soul comes loose from your body. He said, considering the state of things.
Hello?
Yeah?
My internet cut out. And I wish I could tell you, remember where it cut out at.
That's fine. Soul threads resonate with an effect unique to each person. Because it is also used for binding your soul to your body, typically removing it is a big ouchie in death very shortly after. Considering what was happening anyway, Xyces was like, at least he was clever at the end. Not like there was much more use for that left. He did say that it should still serve the original purpose it was crafted for, though.
And the original purpose it was crafted for was it always hits its mark.
and it seemed like when it struck the original sloth, it had some sort of powerful binding effect. It seemed to seal them into like a catatonic state.
Okay.
Also, while you were fighting your brother in the memory, Red Sun.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
So all that everything we've been dreaming about's what actually happened, and someone went and fucked with us and pulled us out of it to try and stop it from happening again.
Maybe.
And it ain't you apparently, and it ain't Ethos, and it ain't Brianna.
Can we just take this one step at a time?
I
As
definitely
opposed
saw
to
what Sarah went through.
Reeves,
yes.
the first word you said when the seal lifted was Red Sun.
2 words. Yes, Red Sun.
Whatever. But the first time I had my dream, there wasn't one. This time, there was. So I saw a red sun too.
Well, I was able to always. Well, the red sun occurred when me and Krax went to go deal with Cedar at the end there. It was present then.
Mine occurred when Eadras tried to take the divinity from Brianna.
So did all these events happen simultaneously?
Mine
Was it?
happened when I became
Did we witness
green.
the end of the world?
Probably not the end of the world, but maybe the end of history or something similar.
Is there a way to line up? I don't see a ruler or anything, but am I able to tell?
The threads are
when?
straight across.
Okay. Is there a way to kind of line it up with the calendar in any meaningful way?
Oh fuck no.
Okay.
From the way things are reacting when you look at it, you get the sense that this is all extremely metaphysical.
Okay.
Well, considering that a red sun is not very common, I'm assuming that all these things happened at the same time. Be a little weird if there were just different red suns in rapid succession.
Or
well,
maybe
the red sun could have
That
just
is
been.
very likely the case. You say a red sun.
Red sun.
Red sun.
Not to be confused with red rum.
what?
So he
You're killing
drags his finger across the edge of the main tapestry and puts his finger on the barely noticeable crevice. If that event you saw occurred, it most likely happened in this lost period here that's been hidden from me.
Is it?
Wait, a part's been hidden from you?
Yes.
That can happen?
He turns his attention to you, Lana, and locks eyes with you. You feel that same like existential dread that Reeves felt. Yes.
The only thing I can think is it would have to be something very, very powerful to do that.
Powerful and shares Xyces' domain. I thought he was the only one supposed to.
I don't know if gods can share domains, but possibly maybe someone could borrow one temporarily.
Well, not share the
There
exact
are
domain,
those.
but
There are those who have worked alongside me and been gifted a small fragment of what I am before.
Enough to
could
do
they do?
something like that, though.
Yeah, could they? Yeah, could they do this?
Perhaps with a combination of foresight and the ability to modify knowledge or history.
I don't suppose they would look like Tomas, your favorite buddy.
Oh, the fucker? Hey, Zaisies, do you know who the fuck the Forgotten Knowledge God is?
No, but it's hardly possible that it is them. If they went through the effort to do this, considering that the consequences would be very aware to them, I imagine nobody will remember them.
Okay. These 7 specific threads are us plus Reiner.
Could it cause what happened to Argith? Speaking of gods that people don't remember?
That Ethos said he did that to Argus specifically, didn't he?
Would
He
this
did.
be how he did it though?
No, what I mean is if punishment for doing something like this is that severe, would Argith have done this?
Ethos told you that he removed knowledge of another god.
Yes, Argith.
He is either deceiving you or being deceived, for that's outside of even his grasp.
Huh?
You know, for some reason, I'm not surprised.
What in the world does that even?
It either means that Ethos is a piece of shit, or it means that there's someone fucking with Ethos.
Aren't you
Why
guys?
not both?
Oh,
Isn't
no one's
Ethos
arguing.
one of the 3 though? Like, he's at the top.
That
How?
does not give us dominion over our lesser's powers.
Ooh.
Once it has been grifted, it cannot be taken back without special means.
Well then.
That's kind of terrifying.
Okay.
So theoretically, someone that isn't one of the main 3 could have done this. Any god could have done this if they had the right domain.
If they made the proper preparations and acted at the right time, it's possible. Considering the timing, they had a very narrow field under which they were working.
Okay, well, this
Like-
explains. Oh, sorry,
So-
go ahead.
Unlike Brianna and Ethos, my descent was for a singular purpose that I fulfilled and returned from. I was only in the mortal plane for a handful of days. I was only vulnerable for a handful of days. And still, history was hidden.
One of these
Uh,
threads is the 7th hero, the Betrayer. Have we seen any sign of him?
Well, the thread's anything
The
to
one
go
who
by.
became the demon host.
Yes.
Yeah, whose statue fucked off recently.
You'd have to check with the others. His activities are of little concern to me.
Well,
Well,
this
if he's not
explains.
related, then whatever.
Well, this explained why you didn't want any of the others. You didn't want any of the others here.
Yeah, well, considering that there are a couple of people running around stealing people's domains, I wouldn't, if I was a god, I wouldn't want to expose myself either.
I have little concern with their attempts. They understand very well there would be little point. My domains are ceremony. Purpose I serve here is the same one I've always served and always will serve.
Yeah?
I chronicle the threads of fate. I have little concern with anything that they bother themselves with.
Petty
And they should
squabbles.
understand better than a mortal but that power serves little purpose.
Reeves will clarify. Oh, I just meant that he seems to be accusing. Well, he wants us to find out who did this. So if any god with the right preparation could do this, that would cast our patrons in the suspicious spotlight. If that's what I'm gathering. Unless you're not suspecting them.
It's possible. But the only ones that I know are directly involved are standing before me. Goodbye, Mika. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Oh.
Oh.
Alright.
Can I BRB real quick?
Sure.
Okay.
Or are we taking a break?
Sounds
should
that
we
way.
keep going?
5-minute break.
Break sounds good.
Yeah, let's take a little quick 5 break. I like the skeleton.
I love him.
Skeleton. I like the skeleton. Not sure how I feel just yet about everything that the skeleton is allowing us to see.
Reese just over here feels like a Tuesday.
Yeah, Lana
As-
over here like, oh yeah, that's right. Sarah got it super rough. Sometimes I forget.
And now you know how rough.
So
Really rough.
to clarify what Reeves saw, so he had all of his memories of the cave and what eventually, and that final encounter with Gluttony before his life ended, basically.
Yeah. To put it into detail, Reeves was eventually force-fed from that cauldron until he died.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah. So
Wasn't great.
so that happened, but then so that happened, but then that thread is still connected to there.
Yes. It's still
And-
connected to when you met Tomas.
Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, is that like the one moment of the other side of the other side of the tapestry that's like the first moment he can remember? Or is there stuff
Like a
before
couple
then?
days leading up to that.
Okay, so oh god.
I'm guessing our baseline memories are the same.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not following a whole lot of that stuff.
I mean, I mean,
Like
how much-
baseline memories like childhood, growing up.
Everything leading up to the war until the end of the war has been consistent between you and your other selves.
Okay, well that
Hmm.
explains us, but there are other people that aren't us that are on the other side of that tapestry, like Caesar's troop.
Weird, huh?
Yeah. So I think that's going to be one of Reeves' questions.
Sounds like a reboot happened.
A retcon.
Something happened. Whatever that
Oh.
something is.
I told Vit. Vit's all like, what the fuck is red sun shit? My brain is like, that shit's the indicator of the day that time is reversed, because probably the autumnal equinox, because it's the whole red sun and autumn is all red and shit, and I'm pretty sure we're like at the beginning of spring right now, which also gives us the urgency of a reasonably unreasonable time limit of doing some big important thing by autumn.
Oh, Sam, you dropped this tinfoil hat.
Fuck you.
Keep your brain place in.
We need to tighten the foil hat to keep Sam's
Yeah,
head
gotta
from
tighten the
falling
screws
apart.
on Sam's head. Alright, is everybody back?
Also, stairs are really fucking.
I'm back. Also, who's Kira?
That's Tomas's cat.
Oh, rip her.
His original cat. Yeah.
Rip
It
her for
was-
burying Tomas and Silkus and then watching over their graves until she died.
It his brother gave him the cat. Told him that the cat was a mountain lion, right? Which are really big cats, but for some reason Kira didn't grow as big. And his brother was all like, "Man, you're a shit dad." And then later, Tomas learns, "Man," somebody's like, "Man, that's the biggest lynx I've ever seen." So it wasn't a tiny mountain lion; it was a really large lynx. And more of the story is Tomas's brother is a piece of shit.
We knew this already.
Oh,
And that was Kira.
so Nathan,
Hi.
you want to look at your thread?
I told him I want him to, and he told me the wolf is dead.
Sam, I'm fucking with you.
You just guys look back at Wolf is just like fucking collapsed on the ground.
Sam, you're high as balls.
Maybe he
You
is, Sam. Who
But
knows?
balls are hanging lowing, so she can't be that high.
They're pretty high off the ground, actually.
First he watches Mandalorian without me, and then he lies to me.
I knew we were
No,
gonna wrap back
we're
around
not.
to
We're
that.
not doing this again.
I knew we were gonna wrap back around to that. I was
So
waiting
to
for it.
escape from that conversation again, Wolf, you want to look at your thread?
Yeah, sure.
So, Wolf. When your memory comes back to you, it picks up in a fevered fight. You, the Knight Captain, and Gunnar all faced off against a version of Wrath that only bears a single head. And as the three of you start tearing it limb from limb, it keeps regenerating back larger and larger each time, until eventually it begins to overpower you all and knock you back. And under the lights of the red sun, eventually it strikes down the Knight Captain. And then it strikes you down. And as you lay on the ground, and it stands over you, raising its hands overhead to plunge into your chest, you hear the sound of a feral roar as a white wolf emerges from out of your vision, tackling into the creature and tearing into its neck, grabbing the top and bottom parts of its jaw and tearing its head clean in half, before the wolf collapses under the choking weight of its own blood as the collar around its neck shreds its own throat. And as Gunnar collapses to his knees, force shifting back into his original form, and he looks over and sees Wrath rebuilding itself once again. The last thing you see is Gunnar look you in the eyes, and through a raspy voice, "I'm sorry." As you see Moonfang begin to grow larger and blood red from the battlefield as it lets out a cry and sadness and anger, and your vision begins to blacken. Your eyes never wake up.
Fuck you.
Hi.
Wow.
Hey Nathan, want to see your death?
Hey, it's only fair he also sees his death.
Matt knows I love Gunnar. He did this to hurt
I
me
know.
and Sam.
I love Gunnar too, okay?
You were really eager to tell that scene, Matt.
Yes.
Because it's mean. It's important to be mean.
I see.
Yeah. Be mean. I
Alright.
like it.
So,
Reed raises his hand.
what is it?
Okay, so these 7 threads, 6 plus betrayer person on the other side of this gap. Why only 7? There are like there. I have a whole second circus family inside of me, but there's another circus family in the tower. Why don't they have threads?
Would you deny your other allies the opportunity to tell you they've waited so long to share?
The ones back in the observatory?
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yes.
I'm fine with them telling me, but if you also know, it wouldn't hurt to have a second opinion.
All you need to be aware of is those are the 7 pillars that kept the mortal plane as it currently is.
And they were about to. What would it.
Without them, the world has been born anew.
What happened when all of us died?
Yes, that.
Did I even die?
You were always dead inside, though.
He looks you over for a moment, Reese. And if a skeleton could sigh, you think that's the noise he makes. Brianna metal, didn't she?
Oh yeah, I've got a little piece inside of me that's hers. You know. It's weird. Reese just shrugs.
Unless you wish to deny the others their chance to tell you, all you need to know is that you can only exist in the way that you are because of what happened to those memories that you see.
I didn't catch all of that.
He was looking at Reese and said the only reason you can exist as you are is because of the circumstances that happened in your memories.
Cool. Cool. I won't complain then.
Okay, so you want us to figure out what happened?
Is everybody back from break, by the way? We just kind of rolled into it.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Right.
Mika's not coming back. She had to
Oh,
head
okay.
back
I was just
tonight,
making
so.
sure that, like, Sam and them were back. I didn't hear them. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, stairs are really hard, Kevin. Really
I'm
hard.
sorry.
Pay attention, Kevin.
God, Kevin.
This is mean.
Yeah.
No bullying here.
I'm the
This is a
dick
no
here.
bully
Kevin
zone.
alone.
No bully.
I'm the dick.
No, I
The
wasn't
next
saying
bully
that. I was
gets pushed
telling
off into the
Sophie not to
abyss.
bully you.
No, I'm the dick here.
No,
No bully, Kevin.
Xyces pulls on all your cords of fate, choking you all.
And then the campaign ends.
Yeah.
And then we all die.
I will want you to know.
It's just like the Dark Souls you died. It just comes across the screen and you have to start
You all
over.
respawn in the cave.
There's a second gap.
We respawn in Millstone.
Wolf spawns in late, so you see him T-pose in before he enters like an ice dance.
Fuck. Anyways.
But yeah. Oh, sorry, what was the specific question?
Who was asking?
I don't remember who was asking something. Bingo! No! Get
Fuck.
out of there!
I think
Hey.
Risa just got done saying he wouldn't complain, and then I think Kevin asked if everybody was back from break. So I think we're
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was a massive dick to Kevin.
Yep. Alright.
Okay.
Anybody got questions for Skullman? Oh, somebody was asking what he wanted them to do.
Oh yes. That was me. Um, so you want us to find out why? Okay, so this gap is hidden from you. Is it still there?
As I said, once history has been made and the threads have been laid, they cannot be undone.
Okay, so they're there. We just can't see them.
Yes, and I need to figure out who is hiding that from me and to
Hey!
what ends.
Hey,
Your
Hey,
fate
listen.
is intertwined heavily
shit.
with the one I believe to be responsible for this. I don't know their identity, but a great many of the roads that lay before you lead to the individual who would tamper with the weave itself. To what end remains to be seen.
The God of Forgotten Knowledge did specifically say that what was going to happen to Cornelius was something that we couldn't avoid, right? Like he already knew?
That seems to be the case.
It's quite possible that he might be, at the very least, involved with this, considering the domain he declared to you if he was being truthful. It's very likely they shared a fragment of my domain to assist their duties.
And Forgotten
you,
Knowledge would be a very good way to hide something.
Indeed it would.
Oh boy. Then why was he helping us?
Because he's an asshole.
Oh my gosh, Tomas. Productive answers, please.
He asked for too
If you
much.
wish to find that out alongside the other information, you're free to do so.
Cool.
Do you remember who all you gave your power to temporarily?
That might also be shielded. Or else I'm pretty
I
sure he would
remember
have
a
figured it out.
handful of them, but none who were still alive during the Godfall that is currently taking place.
See, it helps to ask. How much of this conversation are we free to divulge to our companions?
You can tell them whatever you need to assist you in this task. They should all be quite aware of my things. The
Right.
consequences of what you are chasing, should it be left unhindered.
What would happen? What is, like, what will this cause? Obviously, it looks bad, but I'm guessing things would just kind of start falling apart.
Protection of the weave is my foremost duty, even more so than the experiment that is your existence. If somebody would threaten to alter the weave, damage the threads, to send a ripple through history,
Right. Okay.
there are many other possibilities that could lead to more prosperous fates than we have seen thus far with the mortal realms. It's in your best interest not to let that happen.
Yeah, I kind of live in the mortal realm.
Yeah.
Right.
I
I have a feeling most of our answers are going to come from those back at the observatory.
Probably, but at least we were able to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Do you know what the Red Sun event was exactly? Was it the end of the world?
I think he said it was hidden from him.
Okay,
Its
well,
purpose was hidden from me. At least in this most recent state.
okay.
There was
Well,
only a single time I remember the Red Sun before. It was at the birth of your universe. The birth of the mortal realms.
oh.
That wouldn't really make sense unless someone was trying to reboot it. Well, not reboot it. That's a really bad word to use. Out of character, I'm saying that.
We've established that there are security systems that function like computers with magic. I think you can say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless someone was trying to restart something?
They were trying to turn the universe on and off again.
To their intention, I do not have enough context to know for sure.
Theories.
But if any of... God, what's his name? Fuck. Brain, what's... If any of the others of Kos still live, have them look into Ethos. He once brought the sun to heal before. If it does not remain in the state that you saw it in your memories, it is likely responsible for returning it to as it is now.
Could Ethos have done this?
That remains to be seen with what actually was done.
Man, I hope not, because we just made a treaty with Ethos, and that would just make everything so complicated again. But it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, he would be the one. Well, given he's trying to stop the whole demon incursion thing, if what happened before the break was the result of prior plans failing, he is the one with the strongest motive for doing this. Well, motive and means.
Well, that we know of. We don't know all the gods.
Well, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't
running
that the
theory.
problem?
Running theory, I blame Ethos.
I feel like blaming Eber, even though it's not Eber's fault. Most likely.
I'd be more than happy to blame Eber.
Everything's
I don't
Eber's
think
fault.
he's smart enough to do this.
He's not, but it's still his fault.
As amusing as it is to watch you all speculate endlessly.
I'm sure you have plenty of things to do.
Yes. Sorry.
Do you have any more pertinent questions for me before you return?
If we have more questions later, do we have a way to ask them of you, or is it like a now and done?
I will be keeping my eye on the stories you weave. If you find anything worth speaking to me about, I will find you again.
Okay.
So, you don't get my phone number. I'll call you when I need to talk.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, we can't have the God of Fate on speed dial just yet.
Yeah. Especially since his whole attitude is, I don't fucking care, figure out who's fucking with reality.
Before I kill you.
Before I fucking wipe your reality, before I wipe your existence off the face of the earth.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. Well, since the shape of this is hidden from you, I'm guessing why us specifically is also hidden from you.
There are too many variables still in play. It's important to start now, for we don't have enough time to react.
That's not what he asked.
There's too many roads you could walk. I can't see exactly how you're involved quite yet. Only that you are.
We
Well-
might be able to get the Y from someone else. Maybe. I don't.
I have a theory, but let's not waste the good fate Weaver's time with further speculation.
Very well.
And once again, we are mercenaries being tasked with something by a god. Fun.
Hey, at least this one's okay.
That's fair.
Very well then. Do as you were built to do then. Guide fate from here.
Can you not use that word, please?
He ignores you and goes back to staring off into the abyss.
As we
Cool.
were built to do, huh?
I guess we're dismissed.
Reeves does a 180 and starts back down the passageway.
Oh yeah, it's only like a minute, maybe two, before you find your way back to the main cave.
The whole time Reese is looking around like, this is actually pretty rad.
Yeah.
Once they're close to the entrance, Reese is gonna be like, I like him.
He seems pretty alright.
Death threats aside.
No, death threats are how you know he's honest.
No. Sure.
Are they really death threats if he's threatening to just kind of casually wipe us out like we never existed?
Existential threats.
It seems like a less of a threat and more of a promise.
Very factual, I guess.
It'd be a very easy way to go because you won't have ever existed to have gone anyways.
Wouldn't
I don't know
hurt.
if I like. I don't know if that's a consolation, Reeds or Tomas. Tomas is the name I meant to say there.
You must be really tired, Lana.
No, this. Yeah.
I mean, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, something just hit me.
Mm.
Let's get back to the observatory. I have some questions for people.
Right. He did tell us to talk to Koss, so I guess we should round
Yes.
up all of the Kosses.
Yes, I have a question for one of them in particular because we did not ask.
Cornelius?
Yes, Reeves is hurrying.
Whoa, slow down. Whoa.
No,
Nice.
no, babe. You just have to like widen your steps. He's really short, so his.
Oh, that's
his
fair.
steps are-
That's fair.
So you summon the Council of Dumbasses again?
Let's summon the Council of
Council of
Dumbassery.
The League of Dumbasses.
There we go. All the Cosses can stand together.
Cool. The Convocation of Koss.
Yep.
I like that.
The Cos vacation.
Yes.
Hey.
Very good. I love this.
Applauds.
Well, it's good to see that you all made it back. Did you learn anything?
Well,
Yes and no.
yes. No, he told us to ask all of you things. Also threatened to wipe us out of existence, but that's pretty normal.
Point
I'm
of
kinda
order,
fine
though.
with that one.
Yeah.
Point of order, though. It didn't come up earlier. Cornelius,
Yes.
do you have your pocket watch still?
Unfortunately not.
That's a
They
bummer.
seem to have confiscated it on fear of Zyces getting involved, but it seems like he has reasons still.
Yeah, it seems like, condensed version, somebody has fucked with time and history,
Oh,
And
good,
he
he
can't-
loves that.
and he can't see who, but somehow we six are involved, and he was really tempted to just eliminate us. Exhilarating.
Honest.
A 6 plus 1 betrayer.
One demon lord, whatever.
Roll me perception, all of you.
Oh boy.
Oh, boy.
Perception.
Disgrace.
33.
I'm glad
Thanks, Nathan.
I actually love that scene. So
It's
That
such a
movie
good
is
song.
so good.
I'm actually really happy you fucking did that.
So, Tomas.
Yeah.
Tomas and Lana. When somebody brings up the phrase the betrayer, you notice that Amove kind of glances down and to the side.
Him away.
Hmm?
So
Yes.
I love you and all. You do the explosion things, but what was that face about?
So you're no longer hearing the blur things, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully it's completely worn off. We were answering questions later. It was a little fuzzy. Try again.
I mean, we heard everything Zycy said, so I'm guessing it's fine.
So, the whole betrayer narrative thing?
Is that a lie?
Yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you didn't say that about him anymore.
What?
You know,
Okay,
that figures.
What happened?
Okay, a 6 plus 1 frame dude.
Yeah.
Framed. Interesting.
Things got out of hand at the end, and as terrible as it turned out, our options were essentially that or die out. Then and there. Not just us 7, but everyone.
Really?
A 6 plus 1 really noble person.
Yeah. I can... Give me a little bit to try to get the details straight. It's been a bit.
Take your time.
Yeah.
We'll go over that in detail next session.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
in an effort to not kill Sam, I have a good idea on what we can end this on.
Oh boy.
Well, seeing as it seems that we're no longer encountering any sort of information interference, would you prefer the truth bluntly or with a little bit of humor?
Both.
I always preferred a little bit of humor, so give it to its cheeky, I guess.
Alright, cheeky it is.
Do so love your charm, Cornelius.
I try. I can finally be of use.
oh
I always
shit,
thought
that's
you were of use.
I mean, Ever thought you
Same.
were pretty useful, so.
Yes.
Wow, too soon, Lana.
Horrible cunt with a sword aside, I have a question for you all.
Yes.
What year do you think it is?
1372?
That's a good guess.
1374.
No.
I'm gonna say 183 years after whatever year it was I was born. At least I don't think I forgot any years in there. 78? 78. Fuck.
We stopped keeping track of calendars in the downtime, but based off when the original incursion happened, it's roughly 2372.
What?
And that's where we'll end.
Wait, hey Matt.
1,000 years in the future.
A
Uh-huh.
1,000 years.
Cool.
Cool
That's-
indeed.
Cool.
And there we
Hey
go.
Matt, I thought you said this was in an effort not to kill Sam.
He lied.
I lied. Also, the other option is talking for an hour and then revealing that. Now we can
Yeah.
reveal that and then talk about it for as long as you guys want next session.
He updated
Um,
it. He updated it in real time.
What a fucking hero.
Oh my god, you
Oh,
piece of
updated
shit.
it in real time.
that's how you guys knew it was 1372. I was like, where the fuck did you get that fucking number? You
I just
cheeky
looked at
shit. How
fucking
the fuck
Foundry.
do you remember that fucking shit? No, it's on the screen.
Oh my
I
god.
feel
that
kind
was
of
so
bad.
good.
I feel a little bit bad by how unfazed Reese is right now.
I
But
don't think
but
anybody.
Matt actually predicted this when we were talking a bit back. He's like, Reese is probably gonna come out of this pretty okay, actually.
I honestly, genuinely think at this point the only person who comes close to face is Lana, and that's just because she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I think everybody else is just like, what else is fucking new, you fuck shits?
So yeah, that's a fun little puzzle, isn't it?
Huh? Yeah,
No.
1,000 years, huh?
Yeah.
1,000
Reese is
years of fucking
intrigued.
Rick and Morty up in here.
Fucking
Bro,
gnarly, bro.
what if, okay, it's technically been 1,000 years because we've been reliving the same year 1,000 times.
I don't
That
like
is
that.
certainly a guess. You guys are free to make as many guesses as you want until next session. Until we
I
reveal
don't
what
like
happened.
Groundhog Days.
Matt, I
Same.
have been making as many guesses as I wanted since the beginning. Thank you very much.
If this is a Groundhog's Day situation,
Please no.
if it is a Groundhog's Day situation, if it is a Groundhog's Day situation, maybe on this loop we get to keep our memories to go back, and then we can montage all of Millstone, but we're ridiculously overpowered.
Dude,
Yeah.
I would actually be super down to go back
You
and
guys failed the
undersized
loop.
fucking fucking
Oh shit.
on those
Playing
level 1
Loop Hero
bandits.
right now?
Can you imagine Reese back then just being like, hold on, I got this. Hey,
You
sweetheart.
guys walk up to the king and fucking play the flute, and he fucking explodes.
I just
Okay, but,
want
like,
to key
technically-
blast that entire camp.
Technically, it's a theme that Matt has introduced in this campaign before, with the whole looping and failing and looping and failing.
Haha, we.
What if Wolf
We-
won against Shaw?
Then
Not
you'd be big and
likely.
cool. Nah, Shaw also gets to keep his memories. He's cool enough.
Oh.
Shaw would
Oh my
still
god.
beat the shit out of Wolf.
I would love if the second half of this campaign was a bunch of speed runs.
Second half, we're in,
I'm
like,
not gonna
the
bravely
fourth
default
half.
you, okay?
Okay.
We've got like 7 halves to go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bravely default you, and then you guys realize, like, 8 runs in that the fucking number tattoo on Brianna's arm has been counting down.
Oops.
Oops. But yeah. Interesting things.
We stopped keeping track. It's actually closer to. Oh my goodness.
I hate how legit your uwu is. It
Earlier,
fucking hurts me.
earlier, I had to mute myself because Vit said something about not wanting to expose myself. I started dying.
Man, Hi Sam is a trip.
Yeah.
God, I
Yeah,
can't
Sam
wait.
was like sending me porn and making lewd jokes at me the entire session. I was like, Sam's immune to anything that's going on right now.
God damn it.
I was
Yeah.
I was staring so hard at my computer trying to focus on what Matt said, and I did it. I did it because I kept staring at it and being like, I felt like I was doing something, but I don't remember what it is.
Imagine that, Sam. Getting high for Pathfinder makes it even harder for you to focus on Pathfinder than normal.
Wow.
No, I think I did better.
Debatable.
There might have been higher highs, there were also lower lows, Sam.
See, that's one of the really weird things about, like, if I were to, like, drink for Pathfinders, is I feel bad because, like, sometimes I take things less seriously for Matt, but at the same time I can roleplay better because I'm less shy.
Dude, drunk Nathan Wolf is like a fucking baller.
He
Drunk Wolf is powerful.
he tried to like steal Tomas from Reese.
I'm for this, man. I don't know where my pink gelato went again.
Sam, come on, this is your
On
turn.
my way to steal your
Man, yes.
man.
Wait, what did I agree to?
Oh my good god. I'm gonna stop the recording. Hold on.
Yeah.